Good evening, Alex, Ben and Rachel. How are you doing today?
Very well, thanks.
Good, great to hear. So, my idea is about someone being depressed to begin with, and the aim of my music video is to make them gradually feel happier throughout the video by taking them out to different places. What do you guys think about it?
I think that could work well. You know, if you, as long as you manage to relate the actual vision, you've thrown me off. As long as you manage to relate the visuals to the audio, that could be a very strong idea.
I think you also need some contrast from the music to the visuals as well.
And what about you, Rachel? What do you reckon could be improved?
I think it shouldn't just be a constant, you know, you start off there, you end up here. There should be a bit of juxtaposition as you go along, you know, a few leaps where everything goes up and everything's going well, and then something that, you know, ruins the mood, and then it suddenly goes down, and then something even better that happens that brings it right up again. And, you know, it should just be like a gradual moving upwards as the video goes on, but not in a straight line.
Okay, and you, Ben?
Building on Alex's idea, I think there should be variances in how down the mood goes.
Okay. What about you, Rachel?
Give like a positive mood that to show that people can still like carry on even after like bad times, and, like keep on trying. Everything.
So we have a couple of locations, for example, a supermarket, an arcade, we also have his house, we also have Cabot Circus as well. Where else do you think we could shoot for this video?
I think depending on the mood of the song will depend on the sort of setting that you're looking for, because if you're going for somewhere like a room, then it's a very isolated environment and it's very boxed in. You're very much alone and in your own space, to sort of, you know, left with, you know, like your own thoughts. But it can be quite a sort of depressing atmosphere from how boxed in it is, rather than if you go to somewhere else where you might be alone, like you know, like open space where, you know, you could be like by a lake or something, and, you know, then you're still isolated, but it's peaceful, and it brings, like, you know, an idea of serenity rather than, you know, just isolation.
What do you think, Ben?
I think building on Alex's idea, some places that are fun for most people, but could be considered like maybe depressing or claustrophobic to others, and maybe depending on where he is in his mood.
What about you, Rachel?
Well, it's represent the kind of dark times you go through, just like filming somewhere like the forest when it's quite dark, or like the street, walking down the street or something like that.
Okay. What are your favourite music videos and why?
My favourite music videos would be videos from like bands like The Architects,
Gethsemane?
because Gethsemane. I haven't seen the music video for that, so no. Like I was saying, Architects, because their music is very aggressive and passionate, but you want visuals that represent that. You don't want, find sometimes, for me, music videos that have nothing really to do with what the song's about are just a bit pointless. And like with The Architect, then it's just them playing the music. It's not overly complicated. You know, you haven't got loads of special effects going on, but you can see how passionately and aggressively they're playing, which represents what the music is about. So the visuals and the audio coincide, and that works really well. And I think obviously if you translate that into a sort of thing that you're doing, then, you know, you're going to want, you know, depending on the mood of the song, will depend on what you're seeing. And, you know, it shouldn't be over the top, but, you know, it shouldn't be just like playing the whole time.
Okay. And what about you, Ben?
I don't watch music videos.
Fantastic! Rachel!
Thinking of like 30 Seconds to Mars, Hurricane, like they do quite unique kind of like videos. It's like because Jared Leto's quite a director as well, so I think it's like creative, unique, and quite different from other things that you see. And so I find that quite interesting.
Okay. Is there anything you guys hate to have in a music video?
Yeah, videos that have nothing to do with the music.
Hmm.
That is really irritating when the music video is completely unrelated. You know, when they're singing about, I don't know, drugs, sex, rock and roll. I mean, they're prancing around in like a tutu or something, trying to be creative. It doesn't look good, it looks ridiculous, and it shouldn't be in the video because that's not what it's about at all. And there's no reference in the song to any form of satire to do with that sort of thing. So why have it in there?
Yeah, I agree. How about you, Ben?
Same as Alex, really. Just things that don't fit with the music or aren't in the lyrics to the music.
And you, Rachel?
shouldn't do them.
I also agree, but like it's also when it's just used girls in them. Like
Yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah, and I just like, don't find it interesting at all. And it's like,
Most girls are bikinis.
Is there anything we should make sure we don't do in a music video? So, for example, swearing and rude gestures. Like, bear in mind this music video is going to be for like 16 to 18-year-olds.
I think you could have them in there, but blurred, because you know what they're doing, but at the same time you need to have a certain level of PG about it. You can't, you don't want to expose anything too mad, but at the same time you want, your video is trying to say something, and if because of the song, it's quite a realistic scenario. So sometimes in reality, like nasty things, like gestures, do happen. So you shouldn't leave them out, but perhaps not have the full exposure towards it.
What about you, Ben? No, let me say that again.
What about you, Ben?
And what about you, Ben?
Say it again.
And what about you, Ben? Ben! That's staying in there.
That's gonna stay.
What about you?
I think
I'm sorry, you gotta do that again. It was your face. I can take it seriously.
And what about you, Ben?
I think that having swearing and gestures in a music video is perfectly acceptable, but you need to taper it to the audience, so maybe not use overly harsh swear words, or as Alex says, blur out gestures.
Okay. And what about you, Rachel?
I agree with both of them.
Okay. Final question, you'll be glad to know. Would you like to see people perform on stage in the video? Or, so like, for example, would you like to see lip syncing or like narrative stuff?
I think that depends sort of on the song, really. And also depending on what you're trying to do, because if you're trying to lip sync and act a scene at the same time, it can be not necessarily too much for the actor to worry about, but too much for the viewer to process. You don't want you don't want an overload of information. If you're more focused on the scenery, I don't think there's any need for any lip syncing. I think it should just be the song underlying, almost like narrating what's actually happening in the video, like a piece of film music. I think so. Yeah, the two should work in that way. I think if you're worried about the scenery.
And you, Ben?
I'm thinking if you just want to keep it sort of simple, as Alex says, just keep them, like, as Alex says, it's too sort of complicated for a viewer to watch lip syncing, acting, notice the background as well, like if it's in an arcade, all at the same time. So if you want one or two elements, so like lip syncing in an arcade, but not acting, or acting in an arcade without any lip syncing or anything. So you've just got the music in the background.
And what about you, Rachel?
Well, I think it should be mainly narrative, but like we could add a bit of performance in there, like a good balance between them. So it's like not entirely performance, not entirely narrative, but like a bit of both.
Okay. Well, that's all the questions I have today. Thank you for cooperating with me, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.